Hey folks, it's Matt once again. We're back to another review, this time of Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, which, of course, the cover of this film, a lot of people remember from back in the day, because, wow, they got Freddy and Jason, well, somewhat of a Jason hockey mask. At least enough so that they don't get sued, I guess. On the cover, what's the deal with this? Now, with the Sleepaway Camp films, I think I said this before when I reviewed the first film, I was more of a fan of these two movies than the first one. I would say I prefer these Sleepaway Camp films. They're definitely more campy, more meant to be funny, entertaining, much more of a slasher film. I mean, I appreciate a little bit more what they were trying to do with the first movie. I didn't hate it. I didn't rant on it. But these films are definitely the more fun flicks, and these are the ones from Scream Factory. So they have some pretty decent features, interviews. Sadly, nothing from Pamela Springsteen, who is the gal that took over Flyssa Rose to be Angela. And Pamela Springsteen, I really enjoyed her in these movies. Some got annoyed, thought she was irritating. I thought she did a good job. Playing this just batshit insane. Especially in the second film, she's peppy and smiling and wants folks to be nice girls and have a good time. But she has this weird moral compass, and quite a few death scenes, plentiful in both of these films, 2 and 3, and they're very short too. Like, without the end credits, this is an hour and 15 minutes. So it's not that long of a sit. And the thing about Sleepaway Camp 2, I'll get to Sleepaway Camp 3 in the next video, is how it's, some people say it's kind of like a Scream and other movies before that became a thing in the late 90s. And I could kind of get what they're saying, because it's sort of trying to poke at the slasher film genre. I mean, hell, you have a scene where a guy dresses up as a Jason, a guy dresses up as a Freddy, and then at one point Angela comes in as Leatherface with a chainsaw. That's definitely one of the best and most biggest impressions one gets after watching this film, is that scene. And it's got quite a few bits of gore, quite a few titties, so if you like your titties, this definitely has them. Hell, you get tits in under 8 minutes of this movie. And going back to the beginning, we have this campfire story about the first movie. Although I take objection to the fact that the one guy's like, oh, about, was it a guy or a girl? I forget. But whoever's telling the story is like, oh, about 30 people were killed. I'm like, whoa, whoa. 30 people didn't die in Sleepaway Camp. I just saw that movie. That's an exaggeration. There was no fucking 30 people that died. Trust me. But the movie kind of tells you how it's going to be from the start, because Pamela Springsteen is not liking how this girl's talking, so it hits her in the head with a log and cuts her tongue out, because she's telling stories to steer kids. It wasn't to talk back, it was, you're trying to steer kids, so. Okay, right off the bat, we see a ton has been cut out. And then the openings to this in part 3 has like heavy metal, like death metal. And you didn't need titties under 8 minutes, or your pizza's free. Pamela Springsteen, I liked her performances, especially it's lively, it's energetic. She really sold the idea of being a fucking psychopath. Of course, Pamela Springsteen is related to Bruce Springsteen, unless I read it wrong. And I don't know if Felissa Rose tried for the part, but she didn't really get into the comedic aspects. Then it's also said that she was going to college. So I don't know if Felissa Rose could have pulled a role like this off. But Pamela Springsteen, I would say I prefer her Angela compared to Felissa Rose's, but they're two very different characters in a way. One's very quiet, barely any talk. And they even mention in the film where Pamela Springsteen says, "Oh, I used to never talk to anyone, be silent. Now you can't shut me up." She was so happy and smiling. She sings the morning sun. "Oh, I'm a happy camper. I love the summer sun." And again, these films have quite a bit body count. Sees two people drinking and smoking. Uh, they're passed out. I'm going to burn one. And I'm going to show the sister the skeleton remains of her other sister. And then puts gasoline on her and goes, "Say no to drugs." And burns her. Another, he's like, "I'm giving you one last chance. Just say you're sorry. I'd rather die first." "Okay. What are you looking for? A gun?" "Nah. A drill." And drills the girl. She kills the people pretending to be Freddy and Jason because they're going to play a prank on her. Slashes one guy with the Freddy glove and cuts Jason with the chainsaw. Probably the grossest death is the scene where she pushes someone into an outhouse and into the toilet. She's in the toilet and sticking her head in. And then she also has these leeches on her face. And the victim is this sort of bitchy, sort of bully lady of the movie. If you wanted her to have a comeuppance, she definitely gets it. Not only leeches on her face, but drowning in shit and piss. And again, one of the more grosser death scenes in slasher film history. It's definitely probably the most memorable one in this movie. Jesus. There's one scene, again, it plays off with the comedy aspect where this girl keeps talking and talking, and Angela's looking for a weapon. Not this. She picks up like a boombox, puts that down, gets this, and then just finds something and strangles her. "You talk too much." Then you have this nightmare scene, which, considering how short the film is, apparently they still didn't have enough fucking footage, so they just filmed this nightmare scene where she's sleeping, and then they re-show footage throughout the film, but they slow it down, like her singing, "Oh, I'm a happy camper." And as the film itself kind of shows her inner turmoil, but then the other part of your brain is like, yeah, this is just for padding. So I'm not sure how I feel about that scene. That seems like a scene that you could just fast forward through, but I'm not sure how I feel about that. And the body's fucking stacked on this camp. Technically, she kills every single person in the camp by the end of the movie. You don't see all that, but the bodies stack out, and she puts a bunch of bodies in this shack. There's this one moment where this random woman tries to get help, and there's like the head counselor, and his fucking arm's been cut off. There's another guy who's hanging there, and then Angela comes in, Pamela Springsteen, and stabs the fucking lady. And I didn't even get to our main characters. Renee Estevez, who is related to Emilio Estevez. She's our lead. I don't mind her. She was also in, not the star, but she had a supporting role in this film, Intruder, from 1989, which is a film I want to get to sometime this month. because that's a slasher film I do enjoy. But Renee Estevez does okay. She doesn't really have much to play with, though, so it's not like she's one of the more... Like, I wouldn't put her on a list of top 10 best heroines of a slasher film. Again, she's not really doing much other than she's a nice girl, and she likes this boy, and the boy likes her, and they're both tied up, and then the guy does something stupid. He pretty much keeps fucking threatening Angela, saying, "Yeah, my dad's a cop, and he arrested you," and like keeps egging her on. It seems. So then Angela just cuts his fucking head off. I'm like, what the fuck did you expect, man? Shh, you know. And she chases the lead girl, Renee Estevez, and she thinks Renee Estevez is dead. And there's a little bit of her like crying about that, like, you almost made it. Like a little bit of remorse because, oh, you're one of the good ones. The reason I'm kind of hesitating by this part of the review is watching again, I still like the film. I probably liked it a little bit less than I used to because I noticed a little bit more flaws, like the characters, Renee Estevez. She wasn't bad, but again, she's not really given much. I think also mainly the ending is very lackluster of an ending. Like with the ending, you might as well have had to be continued, and that hurts the film for me because at the end, again, Angela thinks that girl's dead. She goes off, gets a ride with this woman driver who's smoking, so Angela kills her for that. The lead wakes up, runs, gets to the truck, and Angela's like, "Howdy, partner." And it cuts into her face, and it just ends. It just kind of ends. I'm like, well, what the fuck happened to Renee Estevez? And then it's not a deleted scene, but like something they shot for this DVD where what happened to Molly, her character, and it shows that her skeleton remains impaled on a fence. And I don't know who shot that. Again, it wasn't footage from back in the day. It's stuff they shot for this. I don't like that. Maybe it's also after seeing that, I'm like, is that what we're supposed to think? Because that character is mentioned here, but they don't mention what happened to her. But then you have to assume, I guess, she died because how the hell would she have made it out? Because Angela's alive, Molly has disappeared, so that kind of leaves a little bad taste in my mouth. Like, of the first three movies, well, the fourth is a piece of shit anyway. But of the first three movies, this has the weakest ending. Like the first film has the very infamous ending with there's a dick. What's that? It's the dick. Cue the crime game music. And then the third one, I thought the ending was better because that's another thing. Renee Estevez doesn't get to fight Angela. Not really. She pretty much runs and then gets pushed off, or she goes backward, not even pushed off. She goes backward and falls. Doesn't even get pushed. So it's like, at least Tracy Griffith in this movie actually fights, struggles with Angela and stabs her. And then last we see Angela's in the ambulance. And maybe she's alive, maybe she'll die. That's a little bit of a question mark because, well, they try to do that one, The Survivor, which I'm not going to review because it's not even a movie. It's like 80% fucking footage from the first three movies. There's no reason to review it. Nothing to say about it. It's not even a finished film. So yeah, the ending I thought was kind of a lame cliffhanger, or to be continued. Which they were shooting these back to back, so there's no reason why they did that. Like why that character just disappears. Again, I think it's like a weekend they had for a break, and then they went into shooting part 3. And then, like I said, because she doesn't really fight Angela, so the ending I thought was weak. Renee Estevez, I wish they gave a little bit more to her character. With that said, though, I do still enjoy the film. It's got a good sense of humor to it. One thing I didn't even mention, when you look at the characters, especially when you look at the cast list, like when you look at the end credits of this movie, look at the cast list and the characters. Molly, the lead character's name, one's Emilio, one's Rob, like Rob Lowe, Molly Greenwald, Uncle John, as in John Hughes. Yes, many of the characters are named after the Brat Pack. So it's like the movie killing off most of the Brat Pack. Because there's a guy named Charlie, there's a guy named Judd, as in Judd Nelson, there's a guy named Anthony, like Anthony Michael Hall. If you don't believe it, just go on IMDb and look at the Sleepaway Camp 2 cast list and look at the first names of the characters. Yeah, Molly like Molly Ringwald. Charlie like Charlie Sheen. And the list goes on. So I thought, okay, that's kind of clever and funny. The Jason Freddy scene where she kills both of them, that was interesting. Because not many films or slasher films would reference Freddy and Jason like that. Like Scream would do it, but this film did it quite a few years before that. I'm trying to think of another slasher around that time that referenced Freddy and Jason in that way. Kind of remarkable when you think about it, as well as Leatherface. Yeah, plentiful kills, plentiful titties, very short film, doesn't take much of your time. And Pamela Springsteen, I thought, gave a very peppy, energetic performance where she knew what kind of movie she was doing. It wasn't like the movie's tone and her tone were out of balance. No, she knew what the movie's tone was and kept with it. And I thought she did a good job. I don't know who the fuck this girl is on the cover, because that's not Pamela Springsteen. Sorry, I keep mentioning this because just helps me for reference. But yeah, the Sleepaway Camp 2 is a fun sequel. Is it my favorite Sleepaway Camp movie? I guess. Because I do enjoy both of these. Each one have separate issues. Like this one doesn't have as much of the energy or plentiful amount of kills and titties. There's some, but not as much as this one. But yet this one I thought the ending was a bit more satisfying. So, yeah, I don't know which I like more, 2 or 3. I just maybe give the edge a little bit more to 2 because of stuff like that Freddy Jason scene, because I felt a bit more of the humor. It seemed like more stuff happened in a shorter time and was much faster paced, while part 3 kind of slowed things a little bit down. So, yeah, if you want, this is definitely the faster paced of these 2 movies. But Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, entertaining slasher film. If you like slasher films that have a campness to it, has a sense of humor to it, and plentiful amount of kills and titties. Yeah, without the end credits, it's only an hour and 15 minutes, so this is worth your time. So that's my thoughts and review on Sleepaway Camp 2, which came out in 1988. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.